Now to another developing story today impacting many people, especially right here in Florida. Social Security benefits are getting a big bump.
Nearly 70 million Americans will see an almost 6% increase in their benefits in 2022.
$2 a month for the average retired worker, according to Social Security Administration estimates. With the increase, the estimated average Social Security benefit for a retired worker will be $1,657 a month next year.
Congress has a new stimulus check update. The lawmakers in both parties are discussing the inflation relief bill. It includes who will be eligible to receive another check and who should get the money right away. Democrats and Republicans have been proposing how much of the $3,000 checks you'll be receiving. Congress is known for the long negotiation process on stimulus bills. And currently, the debate involves a year-end package. And tied to that year-end package is the reinstatement of an expanded child tax credit, plus the enhancement of the earned income child tax credit. Republicans and Democrats have even wanted to change to a provision in the package requiring businesses to pay more money to the people that need the money the most, and businesses typically deduct these expenses from their taxes at the end of the year while the money is spent. And while they were once able to deduct the entire $50,000, they must now spread a deduction for over the 5 years. Businesses view this as a tax hike, and others have taken this concern to Congress. What this means, though, is that more stimulus money is available because the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits rose to the highest level since August. It remains low by historical standards, but still high overall. Applications for unemployment benefits are a proxy for layoffs, while job cuts remain low by historical levels. It may change as the Federal Reserve raises interest rates again to cool inflation. The Fed has already raised its benchmark interest rate 6 times since March, dragging down stock valuations and leading the housing market to buckle under the strain of mortgage rates that have been doubled from a year ago. Economists expect the United States to slip into recession next year as higher borrowing costs slow economic activity. In recent weeks, major tech companies, including Amazon, Meta, and Twitter, are cutting tens of thousands of dollars as they adjust to a slower growth environment. A continuing hiking campaign from a central bank can also make things worse.
So, for example, if a hypothetical Chinese actor wants to acquire this entity who has questionable background and perhaps criminal activity undisclosed, this is something that the CFTC should be able to inquire about. So specifically, please tell us how you would address these issues under our legislation for digital asset platforms, particularly those that actually serve retail markets.
Thanks, Senator Gillibrand. An extremely important question, and you rightfully point out the existing authority for the Commission to ask questions about an acquisition or some sort of corporate combination is limited. It is essentially a notice filing at best. Given the circumstances of the recent weeks, and this is not an issue that is infrequent for the CFTC. We see a lot of consolidation and M&A activity in the derivative space. I think it's an important issue, particularly with your interests around cyber and critical infrastructure. And this is not unlike the CFIUS process in some respects, which this committee has been very focused on over the years. What can we do to strengthen that authority for the CFTC to be able to ask questions, to be able to demand books and records, to be able to demand information about personnel, management, system safeguards, going to your cyber issue, so that we can better screen and evaluate the acquiring company and what role or impact it might have on the CFTC regulated entity.
And then to follow on Senator Grassi's line of questioning about the undisclosed conflicts of interest.
Well, please take a seat if you have one. Well, it's great to see you all today. President Macron and I have had a chance to spend some time together. We went to private dinner last night with our wives, and just came to tell you that we're leaving. But it's wonderful to have him here. We've had great conversations and always appreciate the opportunity to share ideas with you, Mr. President. And I especially enjoyed our time that Jill and I and Brigitte had last night in our visit. First time I've gone to dinner, a private dinner in Washington in a long, long time. But I had the protection of the French government with me. But all kidding aside, France is one of our strongest partners, and historically, but one of our strongest partners and our most capable allies. And Manuel has also become a friend, in addition to being president of that great country. And we share the same values, and will remain the core common agenda that we address all challenges together. And occasionally we have some slight differences, but never in a fundamental way, so thus far, at least as long as I've been in Washington, and that's been more than a couple years. Today, we reaffirm that France and the United States, together with all our allies.
When will the stimulus checks be sent out? And is there going to be a fifth stimulus check? So in this video, I'll be answering all of your questions surrounding the fourth and even fifth stimulus relief package. But first, I want you guys to know that the federal government just announced that more than 2.3 million new stimulus checks have been sent out. And that represents over $4.2 billion in stimulus payments to Americans. In total, more than 169 million payments worth about $395 billion have been issued since Congress passed the American Rescue Plan Act in March. Now everybody, I really hope that our politicians realize that American people are still in need of stimulus money. There are so many people across the country that are suffering, and a fourth stimulus check of $1,000 a month will definitely help those people out. And if you guys agree with me, then don't forget to give this video a like. Everybody, let's get this video to 1,000 likes to show our politicians that the American people still need a fourth stimulus payment.
This isn't about Dr. Fauci. It's not about his feelings, and I'm sorry if his feelings were hurt. You know, maybe he ought to buy an emotional support pony. But we're not debating dance moves on TikTok here. We're talking about millions of human lives, and here's what we know.
As you've alluded to, the big meeting after the G7, which will focus on all of these issues.
The privatization of Social Security benefits. That is what it does. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people coming up here and saying, well, we want to preserve Social Security. What they really mean is in order to preserve Social Security, they want to cut Social Security benefits. Maybe not for the people today.
In the fourth round of stimulus checks, 1.1 million stimulus payments with a value of more than $2.5 billion were plus-up payments. And that includes new or larger payments that were due to individuals and families after the 2020 tax returns have been processed. To date, more than 8 million of these payments have been sent. Additionally, more than 900,000 checks worth around $1.9 billion went to individuals who recently filed their tax returns with the IRS, but did not previously have the information on record. The latest rounds of payments includes more than $1.2 million direct deposits. Includes more than 1.2 million direct deposit payments, and while the rest were sent via paper checks. Everybody, that is awesome news for those of you who still have not received your third stimulus money. It is very likely that your $1,400 check will arrive this week if you haven't received it already. We'll also show whether your income dropped, because if you folks did not end up receiving your $1,400 stimulus check, or the previous two $1,200 or $600 checks, you can still claim the money by filing a federal tax return. I want you folks to know that the IRS continues to issue checks each week, including plus-up payments, to those whose previous